So I've been under a lot of stress lately, and a lot of that had to do with the deadline that I had. You see, for a few years now, I've been trying to get ordained in the United Methodist Church, and it has taken me way longer than it should have. And that's because I've made some mistakes along the way. So today we're going to talk about getting your money's worth out of your failures. But before we get too far, hit the music.
You can't always get what you want, but if you try sometimes, well, you might find you get what you need.
So like I said, about 4 or 5 years ago, I got started with this process of getting ordained in the church. Mind you, this is a process that usually takes about 2 to 3 years. So clearly things haven't gone according to the plan. Now, I grew up going to a Methodist church. I went to strong Methodist schools both in college and in seminary. And most importantly, I've been called by God to be ordained. So when I began this process, I knew it was going to be like an obstacle course in that it was going to take a little bit of work. But I knew that if I was willing to work really hard, I could get through it even if it wouldn't be pretty. And early on in ministry and in the process, things went well for me. I mean, I couldn't explain fully why, but they did go well.
I have no idea what I'm doing, but I know I'm doing it really, really well.
But then I began to hit some hiccups and some walls. My paperwork had gaps in it, I missed deadlines, and there were just some things to the process that I was unaware of. And eventually the obstacle course began to go a little bit differently for me. Now once again, I didn't think I'd be able to walk into being ordained, but I was beginning to get a little upset with how difficult it was becoming.
You know what really sucks though?
What?
Everything.
But hey, anything worth having doesn't come easily, so I wasn't about to quit. So I'd put a little bit more work into it and push on through. One of the places that I've struggled in this process has been the interview. Part of the job of the interview team is to make sure that I know what I'm talking about and I can relate it to somebody else. And you would think that me being somebody who really likes to talk about God and really likes to talk to other people, that this wouldn't be that hard. But I have a way of talking myself into corners at times. And because of that, I've had several interviews that have not gone well.
What you just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard.
Okay, to be fair, the interview teams were much more gracious than that. But after each interview that I have failed, I've always come back feeling like this obstacle course wasn't going well for me. And this process really came to a head last year. You see, I went in for what could be called my level 2 interview. And this is one that I should be prepared for. If I made it through my level 1 interview, I was supposed to be okay through my level 2 interview. But it did not go well. And I spent the next 2 months angrier than Hugh Jackman if he gets filmed without his shirt on. And because of how long the process has been and how frustrating it has been for me at times, I found myself angry at about everybody. I was angry at each one of my interview teams. I was angry at my church. I was angry at the process itself. And so in all, I spent about 2 months looking for why it was everyone else's fault. And in that time, while I was unpacking why it was their fault and not mine, I began to remember every piece of advice I had ever been given over the years. Every piece of advice I had been given from other pastors, from my parents and friends, and from seminary professors who had been through this process themselves. And I was left with one major realization about my failure, that it was self-inflicted.
You have done that yourself.
My friends and family wanted me to succeed. The board and district want to say yes to people because they want to see good pastors in churches. But that also means that they need to take some time and make sure that they have good candidates in front of them. In particular, they need to make sure that they have good, mature candidates in front of them. And it's not that they were the ones who were sending in bad paperwork or sabotaging my process. No, the truth is this was all my own doing. And that was actually the problem. I was trying to do it all by myself.
That is why you fail.
Yeah, Yoda, I get it. Here's the point. It is incredibly easy to get bogged down and frustrated by failures. We can begin to believe that a failure means the end of our dreams or our goals or our plans. And we can think that failure has absolutely no benefit whatsoever. This process has taught me many things, but most of all, it's taught me the value of perseverance. And it's taught me the value of perseverance because we will fail in life. And in order to be good human beings and good Christians, we need to know how to fail and fail well. We need to know how to learn and grow from that process. We need to learn how to ask for help in our failures. Because after all, none of us are in our life alone. And the truth is, I'm surrounded by a really great team of people who are trying to help me succeed. So the truth is, I don't know what's going to happen. While yesterday was my deadline for all of the paperwork, I still have that next interview coming up. And while I hope to demonstrate that I've matured and grown enough in the years since, it is entirely possible that I still have not reached the point that I need to, and I could fail. But in either case, whether I succeed or I fail, this will not be the last time that I fail in life. And because life is going to be filled with failures, we need to learn how to get our money's worth out of them.
I failed. Why do we fall? So that we can learn to pick ourselves up.
If you've liked what I've said, go ahead and hit the subscribe banner down below. If you have any questions or comments, go ahead and leave those in the section down below. And remember, I love you and there is nothing you can do about it.